Hey, it's Brian from Strong Tower, brain-based performance coach. I'm back to talk today about movement and metabolic movement specifically. So movement that actually can stimulate the metabolism. And what I want you to think about is this question. If you know healthy kids, you have healthy kids in your life or around you, somewhere in your social sphere, think about how often healthy kids play. What you probably came up with is, well, they play every day. And so when we talk about the subject today is the vestibular system and its influence on metabolism, I want you to think through the lens of, hey, healthy kids play every day. And what that means is they probably spin, they probably swing, they probably roll, they probably tip their head side to side, they probably run. Maybe they even run backwards sometimes. If there are kids, they definitely do. So thinking about that consistency element, how much brain stimulus and healthy metabolic stimulus they're actually giving their brain and their body. I try to kind of drive home to our clients oftentimes, hey, we do groups 2 or 3 times a week. We strength train together. That's awesome. We do vestibular drills, vision drills, all these things with thinking through the lens of neurology of movement. And I try to encourage people to practice more. So I'm like, oh, that's a good drill. It's a good drill. One of my favorite things to say, hey, good drill. What I mean by that is I want you to practice it at home. So I'll tell people, okay, do that one more, do that one more. So it's not just 2 or 3 days a week. You want to think about if you can identify a little bit with kids or identify as an athlete. Athletes play their sport almost every day too, especially when they're in season. So if you can think through that lens as we go into talking about the neurology of the vestibular system, how you can spur on your metabolism, not just 2 days a week, but we're talking like 7 days a week. Why not, right? Makes sense logically that you're gonna get more out of this style of training if you do some consistent practice on the training session days, but also your off days as well. This is a really cool system to talk about, the inner ear and the vestibular system, because it has connections to your endocrine gland, your metabolic function, your hormonal function in the body. So it's really key to keep this system healthy. Not just from a balance and an inner ear standpoint, which is what people see the results with pragmatically in session with us, and they're like, okay, that makes sense, makes my balance better. That's cool, see you next session. And I'm like, no, wait, you want to lose weight, you want to lose body fat, you really need to pay attention to these vestibular drills through that lens of metabolism and better metabolic function too. So I'm going to talk you through next a little bit of math, so stick with me. We're talking about metabolic movement and now math. I'm like, why math, Brian? Oh my goodness. So we're going to think about 5, stick your thumbs in your ears, and this is just your vestibular organs in your inner ears. So once you think about, you got 5 of these things on the right, 5 of them on the left. You have 2, what's called, if you take your pinchers, pointer finger, and thumb, you have 2 otolith organs. That's your saccule and your utricle. They sense vertical acceleration and horizontal acceleration. The thumbs here would be horizontal accelerations. Then you have your 3 out here on the end, the 3 fingers, your semicircular canals, and you have 3 on the right, 3 on the left. So we got that 5 down. Now I want you to think 5 plus 4. If you said that equals 9, you're doing awesome. So 5 vestibular organs fire into 4 nuclei. So when we go into deeper towards the brainstem and nuclei in the brainstem, there's 4 of those that take sensation from the 5 vestibular organs. So what can this help with? Again, we already touched on metabolism. It can also help with postural control, blood pressure regulation, like people that have orthostatic hypotension, they get dizzy when they get up too fast, or we're doing a lot of ground-based movement and they keep getting up and down and they're like, every time I stand up, I get dizzy. Well, it's probably an unhealthy nuclei, specific, I think it's the inferior nuclei in that vestibular system in the inner ear that hasn't been getting enough stimulus or it got injured. So we can correct issues, whether a vestibular area was impacted through an injury or whether it's been impacted through disuse. Chronic disuse can cause almost some of the same symptoms and issues disuse can as like an injury. So the way around that, the way to retrain and improve that is by training it. So this is a trainable system. If you think again about healthy kids, they're getting healthy vestibular input every day of the week. As adults, if we sit on the couch and watch TV, guess how much head movement is going on there? Probably not a ton, right? How much up and down movement are we getting? How much linear acceleration are we getting? Maybe not enough. And so why we see improvements in balance with a lot of our clients when we start to train these organs, the ears there, we see not just improvements in balance, but if we can get consistent with this stuff, we're gonna see improvements in metabolism. When you see improvements in metabolism, what that often means is metabolic rate and metabolic function go up. To keep your hormonal function, your endocrine function doing awesome, you may need to support that with more nutrients. So sometimes it's a little bit more caloric intake, sometimes it's a little bit more on the micronutrient side. So we are kind of like constantly shifting and adapting to the level of stimulus that we have. If you're not moving enough, you're not getting enough inner ear stimulus, you may not need as much micronutrient or caloric intake. And when those systems get healthier, we have to support it with good, healthy eating habits. All the micronutrients and the caloric intake that our brain actually needs. Did you know that your brain burns 25 to 30% of your daily calories? So if you're burning 1,000 calories a day, somebody that's super inactive, not a ton of body weight, not a ton of muscle mass, 1,000 calories a day, 300 of those calories are just your brain running the show, basically doing survival stuff to help keep you alive and keep you functioning. So that's a lot of your percentage based on body weight. So the brain doesn't weigh a lot, but it takes a ton of energy. So if you want your brain to be healthy, we got to eat to support that. So just wanted to touch on again the vestibular system, the inner ear, why it's so important to train it consistently, how it can help your metabolism, and then the importance of supporting that with an appropriate progression and shift in your micronutrient and caloric intake. Hope this helps. Please drop a comment, let us know if there's other topics in the neuroscience arena that you want us to cover, other things around metabolism, other things around movement. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that as well. And we love to hear your feedback and things that you want to hear more about. Thanks.